We're good. We're live. Okay, Lise. I know you're almost at your keyboard typing. Are we live? What are we doing? We're here. We're live. 7 minutes late, but we're here. Thank you for joining us in our latest Sylvia Findings live stream. My name is Mark. I'll be your live stream presenter today. If you're watching, no, obviously nobody's watching now. Nobody watches live.
Share it in your Facebook.
I think this every time. People always watch after the fact, like on YouTube, I think, or on Facebook, because you can, obviously we keep this posted up for, I think, forever. So you'll be able to watch this now or later. Nobody's watching now because there's nobody on. There's nobody. I'm just talking to nobody. Talking to the air. For ostensibly for educational purposes. Excellent. Let's move right along. Because we do need to be able to watch this after the fact. So if you've been looking at the socials and the ads that we have, the recent format. Oh, somebody's on. Somebody joined. It's probably Nelson. Okay. I wanted to talk today a little bit about ear wires. Form and function was, I guess, the tag for this. And for the form section, it's not a whole lot of things, but anything that you stick in your ear and dangle something from could be an ear wire, right? We've got so many different styles of ear wires. I'm not going to take my time to show them all to you, but so many different shapes and things. I have a whole nother tray of these, right? So you have everything from your kind of the most common standard sort of shepherd hooks, you want to call them that, although some people only call shepherd hooks the ones that have the ball and the spring on them. I don't know, they're all just ear wires, whatever. They all basically do the same thing. Oh, these are cute. I like these. Right? Very simple. Loop followed by, the ear wire shape, and then that little bend, and the end you stick in your ear, and you dangle something from it, and that's it. It's like if you walked into any bead store ever and you say, show me how to make a pair of earrings, they're going to take a head pin, they're going to put a bead on it, they're going to make a loop and attach it to an ear wire and say, boing, there's your earring. And 9 out of 10 people who are not jewelers, who have never done this kind of thing before, are going to be amazed. Like, oh my God, that's so cool. I can make my own earrings. Yeah. But I think people, get stuck in those kind of things, and we have a couple of customers who routinely get buy pairs of stones. I have one customer in particular who I'm thinking of. She buys pairs of stones at every gem show she goes to. And then she'll come in here and she'll want to, get earrings. And if we do one of the, like a regular, like maybe it's these are the biggest oval earring sets that we have that have settings on them, right? This is a little basket setting, oval basket setting. This is 9 by 11 is the biggest size that we have. And if she has stones that are 9 by 11 or smaller, or anything, whatever, we have settings for them, she'll buy these things. But invariably, she will remove these ear wires, these plain ear wires, and add something big chonkers like this, something big like this. Or if you've ever been in a showroom and asked for ear wires, you know that there's no way I haven't recommended these, because these are my favorite ear wires of them all. I just love these, right? So she never buys these, but I suggest them all the time. Everything from, great big, kind of quasi hoops, they're not really hoops. They're sort of, what is that shape? Lenticular, right? That cat's eye shape, or marquise, if you want to call it. We've got these crazy big things with cubic zirconias all over them. So, my point is, like, pretty much anything that you can bend into a hook and stick in your ear, boom, that's an ear wire. Great. And you know, we have lots of ear wire settings, earring settings that have these things. But like I said, you know, similar to this favorite customer of mine who comes in and always changes the ear wires that we have on these things. What if you have a stone or a pair of stones that you want to make an earring from that, you know, we don't have? Like I said, this is the biggest 9x11 is the biggest oval earring setting that we have that's already made into earrings. Now obviously we have pendants that are, you know, go way bigger. This is just a kind of medium-ish size. I don't remember off the top of my head, but this was 14x22, something like 16x20, something like that. Whatever. But suppose you have a pair of earrings that are like this, right? And you know, we don't have ear wires for them, right? We just have a bail on the top. I don't know if you can see that bail, right? But the nice thing is the bail is added after the fact. These are cast in two pieces, right? The bails are cast in a single piece, and the earrings and the settings are cast and then they're soldered, you know, the bail is soldered onto the loop that's in the top of that. So what I've done tons of times is just cut the loop off and add an ear wire to that, right? So if you want to have these things, you know, you just dangle an ear wire off that. And the nice thing is, of course, having so many options, you can take your time trying to decide which one you want, right? And you're not, you know, limited obviously to, you know, simple oval basket settings. You can, you know, if you're feeling very patriotic, right, as a Canadian, I guess if you're watching from America, well, too bad we don't have any stars or stripes or anything like that, anything American. But here's a good, because we're good Canadians, we have this lovely, you know, setting, right? So a pair of earrings like that would be great, or something. I know I show this all the time because I just love this. This is one of my favorite castings that we have for like a 16x22 oval, you know, cabochon. You just slip that in there, glue that on there. You can put that as an earring. That would be so awesome for a, you know, I think, or, you know, if you wanted to get really crazy, you could just cut the bail off this beauty and have this for an earring. Come on, you've seen earrings this big. I know you have. Don't say one more. You're just being weird. Man, I've seen earrings way bigger than these. And you wonder how people's earlobes survive that thing. You know, me with my non-pierced ears passing judgment. Right, so similar to, you know, before with the ovals, right? We have pair settings. This is the biggest pair setting that we have that's already in a pair of earrings. This is, again, 9x11. But if you had, you know, this thing, yeah, right, you just get a bigger one and just cut the bail off, attach that to the thing. But what if the setting that we have for it, or the setting that you could find, doesn't have a bail with a soldered loop at the top? Like, this is very simple, right? You just, there's already a loop at the top of this. You just cut the bail off and add the loop on. But what if it's one of these like rabbit ear, you know, bails? You know, you might think, what'll I do? And I guess theoretically, you could, is there a way to do this where you can see? Let me just move this, turn this around. Just trying to open. I can't see the open side of this jump ring. Oh, did I pick a jump ring that's soldered closed? That would be just like me. Oh no, there we go. Right, so theoretically you could open that, connect that to both of those, right? Close that up and then add the ear wire to that. And that, I mean, it's kind of okay, but you need to have a great big huge jump ring to be able to make that look. And then it's kind of obviously cobbled together from different things, right? But if you take the these rabbit ear bail and just pinch them together, oops, not in focus. And then here's a good example. Just going to say you can find an ear wire or make an ear wire, which I'll show you in just a minute, with a big, you know, big loop. It's got a pretty big loop. But Mark, you say, if you connect this to that, it's going to hang sideways. And yeah, you're right. Here's the other thing about ear wires is, you know, they're made out of wire. And like all good wire, you can bend it. So if I just take this loop in my chain nose pliers, say, and I just turn this,
until that loop is perpendicular to the plane of the ear wire, then you just very easily, this is not on screen, right? Attach that to there, whatever, doing, and there you go, you have that. I mean, you get the idea, right? And that doesn't look like it's weird. That doesn't look like it's cobbled together. That looks like it's like, okay, yeah, right. Especially when, you know, you got lovely big, not quite chandelier earring parts, but, you know, just a nice big earring or whatever. Now, as far as, let me just do this further back. If I wanted to, say, make my own ear wires, and I probably shouldn't show you this because then you're going to say, yeah, but Mark, why would I want to buy a pair of ear wires from you if you can just make my own? Well, these, let me just see if I can replicate these, right? Just a simple ear wire. This is $2.70 a pair is a retail price, and $1.73 is the wholesale price. So if I take a piece of 20 gauge wire, about, I don't know what that is, 3 inches or so, and I'm just going to make a loop, a little tiny loop, or I guess you can make a big loop if you wanted to use it for, you know what I just showed you, a little loop in the end there. So that's a little loop at the bottom, not quite centered. Trying hard to do this behind the camera. And then what has that got? That's got a little bit of a circular bend above that thing. Or you know what's also cool is that at this point, you know, you could string like a little crystal bead on there, or a little silver bead, or you know, whatever. You can make little tiny springs, but that one just has like a bend, probably like a something like that, little curve. And then we're going to use my fancy schmancy ear wire tool here and just pull this over and around. Right? And then I think the most aesthetically pleasing place to have that last little bend, because every ear wire I've ever seen always has a last little 1/4 inch or so bent out, is to just make that bend just about at the bottom of the loop, right? Little tiny bend, and then doink. Oh, you're gonna pay for that. And there's a little piece of earring, right? Nice. And this doesn't look too dissimilar from those. Now these have a flat edges, which if you took this and you put this on a bench block and you're hammered just the curved part, right? From just below there to just above or just below the top of the loop, because everything from the tip of this earring all the way up just past the top of that loop is going to pass through your earlobe, and you don't want to flatten any of that, just the part that hangs out the front. That does a couple things. It hardens the wire. I mean, it looks cool, right? Because it has that flat edge, and it's just a matter of how it kind of looks cool. These are also stamped 925 on those. But I don't, so it looks cool, but it also hardens the wire quite a bit. And the other thing you're saying right now in the back of your head, but Mark, the tip of that thing is going to be real, you know, if you use a really good cutters, yeah, good flush cutters, the end will be nice and flush, but the edges will be kind of sharp, and that's why you need to use one of these. This is a cup burr. This is bigger than the size I would use. This 20 gauge wire is 0.8 millimeters wide, so I'd probably use one that's about 1 millimeter wide. But the way this works is you put this in your rotary tool, right, like a Dremel or something, and then you put the wire into the end of that, and that spins around, and that files the end of the wire into a little domed edge, so it makes it nice and smooth when you stick it in your ear. Stick it in your ear. That's kind of the tagline of my whole chat this morning. Of course, you know, I also just brought one of these out, even though these are not ear wires per se. These little, you know, ball studs. If you want your piece to hang, you know, closer to your earlobe, right? Obviously, ear wires, everything will dangle down a little bit further. You know, you could just use these interchangeably with ear wires. There's a loop on the bottom of this, the same as there is a loop in the bottom of an ear wire.
if you get the good ones like ours, the loop on these things are open so that you can open and close them to connect them to whatever you're connecting to. But that's it. I think that's about the gist of what I wanted to talk about today. Don't accept those plain old ear wires. Now, to be fair, we sell probably 10 times more of the plain ear wires than we sell of all the other funky ones combined. But, you know, if you want your jewelry to stand out a little, right? You know, putting on a plain old, you know, shepherd hook ear wire kind of thing, you know, sure, I mean, you can get them pretty much anywhere. But if you shop here, we have way more options, you know, interesting styles, things that are a little more, that set you apart. If you're at like a farmer's market or at a gem show, or, you know, you're showing your jewelry, you know, if a customer walks by 5 booths where all of the earrings have those plain old ear wires, and then they come to your booth and you have something cool, funky, something, you know, a little, you know, different, you know, something chunky, something interesting, something cool shape. I'm telling you, these are a winner. They're just a winner. It sets you apart, and it definitely, I think adding an interesting ear wire gives it a sense of customization. It gives you a little more credibility in the, you know, yes, this is not, you know, this usual kind of thing that you'd be able to buy at, you know, some dime store shop in the mall or something like that. I don't even know what that thing I'm thinking of. I know in the U.S. there's a chain of stores called Claire's, I think. Yeah, do they have those? We have those here too. Yeah, Claire's. Yeah. So yeah, you know, I mean, you can get, you know, earrings for like $1 there, but you're never gonna find a cool ear wire on them. So if you want something like that to set you apart, you know, don't. I know that things like clasps and ear wires always seem to be like a secondary, you know, motivation, right? Make the cool earring, you know, make the cool necklace, make this something that's really cool. But it always just, it blows my mind how people will spend hundreds of dollars on, you know, precious stones and crazy, beautiful, you know, sterling components and, you know, whatever, and they'll spend hours putting them together and arranging them in beautiful, aesthetically pleasing patterns, and then put it together with a clasp that cost them 35 cents. You know, it's like it doesn't make sense. And the same thing with ear wires. You know, yeah, you can buy plated ear wires. You could probably buy those, you know, simple shepherd hooks, right? Just regular base metal and plated ones for, you know, under $1 a pair. Sure, yeah. Sterling is always better. I think sterling always adds instant credibility to whatever you're doing. And I'm not knocking the thing. If you want to be chunking out, you know, just volume, you know, then yeah, plated ones thing, you can definitely get away with that sort of thing. But I think if you want to up your game a little bit and you want to add a little bit of credibility, a little bit of thing, you know, sterling always, you know, guaranteed is a guaranteed go-to. And adding an interesting ear wire definitely sets you apart. And yeah, I mean, I showed you a bunch of different, you know, forms and a couple of different functions, and that was my my whole reason for this thing today. Now, the thing that I need to get straight is this phone is always a little bit crooked. I feel like I'm in one of those old Batman shows, you know, where the villain's lair is always slightly skewed. Right? Can you see that on the thing? How the... No? Okay. Never mind. Yeah, it's all good. Okay, yeah, it's a little bit crooked, but whatever. Yeesh. I never look at myself. Thanks very much for joining us this week. It was good. It was a short one. I like these better than the big long ones. I find people... you know, appreciate them a little bit better. You're not wasting too much of your time. So thanks for joining me this week. In the meanwhile, we'll be back next week, I think, yeah, because we don't have another show. Oh, I didn't mention, we just had a show in Montreal this past weekend. We're just back from that. So if you came out and saw us there, merci beaucoup. And I wasn't able to be there this time, but I don't know, maybe I'll be there next time. I don't know what we're doing with that, but I know that we're definitely, you know, excited to come back, you know, to Montreal. It was great. It was great fun. And we don't have another show now until the big one at the PNE, right? I think at the beginning of the first week of December. I think that is. You can look. What?
That's our last show of the year.
That's our last show of the year. Yeah, the big one at the PNE in the first week of December. And you can look up the dates on our website and get all that information. Okay. I will see you next week. In the meantime, take care of yourself, take care of the planet, take care of your mental health, and keep making stuff. Just, don't get bogged down by the little things. Just keep making stuff. The more the creative juices are flowing, the more they'll flow. I know that doesn't make any sense, but it makes sense if you know what it means. I will see you next week. All right, take care. Bye. How do I stop this?